Hi everyone, I should be live at the moment, but I'm just waiting for it to actually verify on the screen over there. You'll probably get some feedback as well because there's a bit of a delay. Here we are. Here we go, and we're live. Hi everyone, I can see there's a few people in the chat right now. People, 15 maybe. We got 12 people. Hi everyone. Today is a dark day. A very dark day in history because today, as expected, the United Kingdom signed the extradition papers to send Julian Assange, former editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks and founder of WikiLeaks, to the United States to be tortured in one of their black sites, no doubt, by way of putting solitary confinement, like, well, we'll get to that in a minute, but he's going to be extradited and sent to the United States to be punished like this in a kangaroo court in Virginia, because he published some stolen documents. He did the job of a news agency, and that somebody leaked him documents in the public, somebody sent him documents in the public interest, and he published them. Did the job of a news organisation is what he did. Now, the stealer of those documents, private Chelsea Manning, has already spent years in prison for that crime, and then had her sentence commuted. Somebody's saying sound is very low. Just bear me a second. Let me just go into filters and put my gain on. There you go. I've put the gain on. Somebody said it sounded low, so I've just changed it there. It's new recording equipment. Sorry about that. But the stolen documents, by the way, that the stealer of those documents, Chelsea Manning, already has spent years in prison being tortured, being put in solitary confinement and being withheld the medicine that she needed, and had her sentence commuted by Barack Obama at the end of his 8-year term. You know, her crime was commuted. She's now back in prison because, get this, a grand jury is trying to force her, by putting her in prison and also putting under immense financial penalties as well, to the tune of, I think it's something like thousands of pounds per day, thousands of dollars per day for every day that she's in prison. Because she won't testify against her publisher of those documents, that she sent those documents that she herself stole. This is an act of pure fascism. It cannot be thought of as any other way, and if any media organisation is not framing it in that way, then they are part of the fucking problem. It is happening right at the moment. Right at the moment. Well, it is happening just after Donald Trump, the president of the United States, I still can't believe I say that, but had his state visit, which was afforded to him by outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May, who right now is ignoring questions along with Sir Alan Duncan, ignoring questions about a leaked OPCW report, which now the Director General of the OPCW has confirmed is genuine, that poured extreme doubt on the narrative for the Syria bombings last year, in which the United Kingdom, France and the United States bombed Syria on the back of. It was a false flag, in other words. And then they covered it up in the OPCW, which of course calls into question the credibility of everything that the OPCW has done in the last few years, especially the Skripal poisonings as well, which they were involved in, which happened just before that Syria bombing, which coincidentally was around the same time that Julian Assange was gagged inside the Ecuadorian embassy. This is all happening. His extradition is being signed just after our Prime Minister, Theresa May, has resigned and is leaving, and now 140,000 members of the Conservative Party, get this, 140,000 members of the Conservative Party who are mostly over 55, I would say, mostly white, mostly rich upper class people, mostly, higher educated, mostly the elite, 140,000 members basically of the elite are going to choose which fascist becomes Prime Minister of this country. And the running is so bad, the choices are so bad that these people have, not the country. The choices are so bad that Boris Johnson is the runaway leader at the moment. Boris Johnson. Yeah, that guy who was on the zip line and 350 million on the bus and, Piccaninnies and watermelon smiles and all the rest of it. Boris Johnson, let me tell you, is an absolute incompetent buffoon who wouldn't know his arse from his elbow unless an aide fucking told him which one was which. And he looks like he's about to be our Prime Minister. Right at the very time, all this is happening, his extradition is being signed right at the same time as journalists around the world are under attack in Australia. For instance, there was a media organisation in Australia that was raided, and they're going through all the documents trying to find out who leaked the information of some corruption that was going on in the military, I think it was. Just after, by the way, Australia, the ruling party over there, won an absolute, what they called a miracle election. And it was it could never have won that. They won it somehow, though. And now they're raiding press organisations. This is all happening after a year of hybrid warfare. And that's what it is. It's a year of hybrid warfare. We are at war right now with Russia, with China, with Venezuela, with Iran. We are at war with them. We're just not dropping bombs. People are still dying. Sanctions are still war. No missiles are being fired on Venezuela, for instance, but 40,000 Venezuelans have died as a direct result of what America and us are doing and crippling their country, all because this country wants to take itself out of the global system where America gets to tell countries what they can and can't fucking do because they base their money on that black stuff that Venezuela seems to have a lot of. $40,000 deaths. If Maduro had caused 40,000 deaths in the last 4 years, you better know the media would be making a song and dance about it right now. They would never stop talking about it, trying to get their man Guaido in. This is all happening right now. This is all happening while the United Kingdom ignores human rights violations that they are complicit in around the world. For instance, human rights violations that they're complicit in Yemen, in this proxy war with Saudi Arabia. Because we are Saudi Arabia's bitch, after all. They are controlling the oil at the moment in the Middle East. They are our pals, our allies. Even though they have massive human rights violations themselves, no, they're our allies. While the UK ignores human rights violations, historically in the Chagos Islands, where they've been told they've got to give them back, and they've said, yes, we'll give them back as soon as we're done with it militarily, which will be on the 5th of Never. Human rights violations, for instance, such as the Windrush generation, where they just breeze past. The person who did that actually became our Prime Minister. Fantastic, isn't it? Human rights violations such as Grenfell Tower, not far from me. So I'm going to be talking about that a lot. in the coming few months, I hope. Human rights violations such as the poverty report from the UN rapporteur that likened Tory policies of austerity to workhouses, conditions of workhouses, where they just say, no, fake news, don't believe it, move on. Really easy to solve things if you just deny their existence. But essentially that's what they're doing right now, the politicians are. This is all happening. This is all happening while launching their own fake news, their own campaign against fake news, which is, you know, it's Goebbels-like. But then Jeremy Hunt is doing it and spearheading it, and he makes Joseph Goebbels look amateur, the guy does. This Defend Media Freedom campaign, where he's even got a celebrity lawyer in Amal Clooney along there with him, launching it. Amal Clooney, wife of, you guessed it, George Clooney, the guy who was spearheading the Saintly White Helmets campaign. Honestly, it's fucking insanely Orwellian and Nazi-like. It's fascist what they're doing. All the while, this is happening and they're refusing, the media are refusing to stand up for Julian Assange over here. They're pointing at Russia saying, you're terrible towards your press. Saying you've murdered journalists who pop up alive the next day. And saying you've imprisoned journalists, and then the media outlets all get around and join hands and say, we'll stand, and they release him. Why aren't the media doing that for Julian Assange over here? But they don't, because they've led a 7-year smear campaign against him. And now they're trying to have it both ways, of course, but they are derelict in their duty. You know? It's as simple as that. They haven't been the fourth estate. They've fallen completely in line, as Chomsky says, better than any dictator could ever imagine. What is that if it's not a fascist fucking endeavour? This is fascism. Make no bones about it. It's fascism. And the liberal media are fucking complicit in it. The Guardian, all of the motherfuckers at GCHQ, they're complicit in it. Monbiot, James Ball, Owen Jones, all of them. Owen Jones thinks Nigel Farage is a right-wing fascist. The fascists are already here. We're already in it. And right now, 140,000 people in the elite are choosing which of these fascists becomes Prime Minister. Take that, Maduro. How's that for democracy? Fucking James Ball. He replied to me on Twitter earlier saying, oh, you spelled prostitutes wrong. It's like, I called you a prostitute, you fucking whore. You're a prostitute, not a prostitute. I didn't spell it wrong. You are what you are. And then saying the Guardian stands there, doesn't want him extradited. You can't have it both fucking ways. For 7 years, you were persecuted and slandered and smeared him. You can't turn around at the end and say, oh, we oppose it. And think that people are not going to get pissed off and show you for what you fucking are, you disgusting maggot. They are trying to bury this story in the media. They are trying to bury it. They are trying to not let the people in this country figure out just how fucking important this is. Just look how they're suppressing the story and how they have absolutely just changed the rhetoric totally. Doing the old adage of, oh my God, they smeared him with a sexual allegation. The oldest trick in the book, for Christ's sake. The media can't have it both ways. And that's why we've got to get in their face. We have. Because they're derelict in their duties. They haven't been able to do their job. And you know what, media? If you're not willing to do your job, move the fuck aside and let people come through who can. I might not be the slickest motherfucker in the world, and I might not be the most intelligent, but I tell you what, I've got a fucking moral compass. And I'd be asking every one of these motherfuckers right now who are being chosen by 140,000 people to be PM, why are you a fascist? I'd be saying, are you a fascist? Why are you locking up a fucking journalist? Why are you locking up a journalist for publishing the truth? Are you America's bitch? This is what they should be fucking asking them. But no, oh, did you take cocaine? What the fuck? But then they've had it this way for so long. They've dumbed down the population so they are oblivious to this shit. I mean, for fuck's sake, one of the shows I saw the other day, it was winning awards, I heard. Might have been a while back, it was winning awards. It was literally people sitting down watching TV, watching people sitting down watching TV, Gogglebox, and they won an award, and they were watching themselves win the award on the programme. So people were sitting down watching TV, watching people sitting down watching TV, watching people sitting down watching TV, winning an award. And this is entertainment. This is how the masses have been dumbed down. And this is why people don't fucking care. They don't know. The time for nice is over. My friend Ross Coyle, who is a great supporter of this show, he emails me all the time. Thank you, Ross. He reminded me this morning that today, the day that Assange has been signed these extradition papers, is the anniversary of the 1381 Peasants' Revolt. What could be a better time to rise up again and overthrow this fucking corrupt establishment and take back? One of the things about the 1381 I learned was just how far people were pushed before they broke. It's always the way. How can people allow this to happen? We're just allowing it to happen. We have to make a stand here. I'm not fighting these fascists because I think we can win. I'm fighting these fascists because they're fucking fascists. And you should too. I've plagiarised that, but it's true. I heard Chris Hedges say the same thing the other night. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, there's his hearing. Julian Assange's hearing at Westminster Court. Now, it's probably going to get moved. It will definitely get moved from court to court. And I'm hoping people will actually be in the gallery and be able to come out and report to me and tell me what has happened, like last time. I'm going to be there. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be there at 9 o'clock because you know what? It's been a rough few days. Emotionally, it's been rough. I couldn't even make it to the imperialism on trial thing again last night. I went to the one the night before, but last night it was just too much. I was too angry. I was too angry that, you know, only 20 people turned up to this. 20 great people, don't get me wrong, but 20 people. Is that it? Turned up to a rally. This is fascism we're fighting, for fuck's sake. They are locking up a journalist for publishing the truth. That's it. They have hijacked our democracy in both the UK and the US. We do not have a functioning government. They cannot pass anything through. They have missed 2 Brexit deadlines, proving that democracy is totally an illusion in this fucking country. What more do you want to rise up than this? And don't let Owen Jones tell you it's fucking Nigel Farage's fault. Don't let The Guardian tell you it's fucking anybody's fault because they have been lying to you for over fucking 7 years about it. Don't let any of these motherfuckers tell you this is anything other than what it is. It's an assault on journalism, it's an assault on free speech, it's an assault on fucking freedom of the press, and it's a hijacking of democracy. And the media are complicit in it. Okay, I've tried to be as unanimated as possible, but honestly, I'm fuming right now. I am so angry. I'm not a violent person, I promise you I'm not, but if we're not willing to take a stand for something, if we're not willing to take a stand for this, it's lost. If he gets extradited, that's it. Some will say we're lost already. Something I want to touch on and I've forgotten about. Yeah, I've forgotten. It's gone out of my head. I just went live. This has not been the slickest thing. I'm down in London. I'm going to be back in the normal place next week, so the videos will be able to come out as normal. I'll be able to put pictures to them, etc., and talk you through things. But this is really serious, people. This is really serious. Whether you like Julian Assange or not is irrelevant. Whether you, honestly, the media have lied to you about him. It's really important that he does not get extradited, because if he does, we have literally just given them permission to become a fully totalitarian state. Honestly, sadly, we're already in it. There's only one thing that is going to save Julian Assange, and there's only one thing that's going to save freedom of the press and freedom of speech and democracy in this country, and that's people. Unless people actually get their fucking noses out from underneath these things, we've got no chance. Okay. I'll be at the Magistrates Court in the morning, 9 o'clock. Please, if you can join me, be there. It's really important, this is. We need to make the voices heard. And when we get there, when we're there, get in the media's face. What little media show up, get in their face. The Associated Press, or the Press Association, or whatever they're called over here, get in their face, say to them, did you notice, by the way, when you covered the last one at Westminster, get to tell them, did you notice how none of the English papers, none of the UK papers, none of the mainstream US or the mainstream UK papers talked about Julian Assange's letters from prison? Did you notice that, media? Did you notice that journalists who were covering that? Did you notice how the United Kingdom and US, the mainstream, didn't pick up on that? But did you also notice how all of the rest of the world's media picked up on that letter? Germany, Spain, Italy, Australia, it was everywhere that Julian Assange was sending letters from prison. Not in the UK though. The UK didn't. The Independent didn't talk about that. The BBC didn't talk about it. I don't think The Guardian did. None of them did. If you turn up tomorrow and you get in my face again, watch out. Because it's not just me you're fighting. There's an army behind me. Thanks very much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. Honestly, I am getting restricted like you wouldn't believe. Please make sure you've clicked the bell so I get another notification. I know there hasn't been a lot of videos since I've been down here. It's been difficult since I've been on the road. Hopefully I've been able to put out enough. It's emotional down here. You know, I'll be back live from the scene tomorrow. Thanks very much. Take care, everyone. Save Julian Assange. Get vocal. Tell people how bloody important this is, because it really is. Thanks very much.